Hello again, everyone. Zack Attack is here at my WWE Raw review for this St. Patty's Day, Monday, March 17th, 2014. Of course, as we head down that golden road to WrestleMania 30, we have some new matches. Well, maybe not exactly new matches set. Maybe some seats for new matches set. And new participants for the Battle Royal. Plus a new stipulation to one of the matches. It seemed that the Authority was breaking down throughout the evening, but as we would see it by the end of Raw, things were right for the Authority and business was good for them. But as I digress here, interesting one tonight, some okay action, some interesting segments as we get the build up for Mania a little bit more higher. I think it's a decent build up for Mania thus far. It took a little while to build it up. I think it's interesting build up. We would begin with Triple H. Talking about his match against Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30. Of course, he said, he's taking on D-Bryan. If D-Bryan wins, he gets in the triple threat match. That was the key word here. Triple threat. As Triple H added a stipulation, not only is D-Bryan eligible to enter the match if he wins, Triple H is now able to enter the match if he wins. Basically, it's going to be a triple threat at Mania, no matter what. It will be a triple threat match for the WWE Championship, World Heavyweight Championship, Batista and Orton against either Triple H or D-Bryan. And Triple H said it's all your fault. It's all the fans' fault. Well, it is actually true, actually. It is kind of the fans' fault. It's the fans' fault for booing Batista instead of him being the face, the baby face here. The fans boo because they want D-Bryan. Because the fans, it is true, the fans did kind of ruin WWE's plans for Batista to be the main guy. Now D-Bryan is going to be inserted if he ends up winning against Triple H. Of course, this plan didn't sit too well with Batista and Orton, who were crying like little babies in their words, and storyline-wise. And Orton is true on a couple things. The fans didn't believe in Batista anymore. You've been away for too long. The fans don't believe in you. It's because they want Daniel Bryan. They believe in Daniel Bryan. That's the key word there. And then Orton went on, and then Batista dissed the hell out of Orton as well. But being a WWE champion, the fans don't like you because you suck. That's kind of true, too. You know, Orton's great, but makes people want to hate him, basically. Then Triple H adds the fact that he's going to insert him. He got irate that these two were just bitching about this whole situation. And not only did he make the stipulation of him being in the match if he ends up winning the match against D-Bryan, which will make a lot of fans kind of paranoid and kind of make D-Bryan more over because all the fans will be incensed by Triple H's ego wanting to insert himself in the title match if he ends up winning, which I hope doesn't happen, but I know it won't. But it's going to make a lot of fans, especially the IWC, kind of be included. Kind of irate. He also not only made that stipulation, he made a match that Orton requested. Orton requested a no DQ match against D-Bryan tonight. But Batista was not happy about all this. Not only getting shafted of headlining Mania by himself, he has to be in a triple threat match, no matter who it is, and discouraged by Orton's words. So after Triple H left, Batista got RKO'd big time by Randy Orton. Because Batista said some disparaging words about Orton as well. You know, it was like trash talking back and forth. So Batista, after getting RKO'd by Orton, he left the building. Or so we thought. Till then, we're on to our next matchup. The Usos taking on the Real Americans. Non-title action. The Real Americans, of course, we've seen their problems digress in the last couple weeks. With Swagger and Cesaro kind of screwing each other at singles matches against Big E and having problems doing a tag team match on SmackDown this past Friday. It seems that their tensions and their issues are kind of solved. As the Usos dominated the early half of this match, a very decent tag team match. Very good action in this matchup, especially the ending was kind of interesting. But as we get on down, the Usos were doing a high-flying waves. But then one of the Usos tried to fly, tried to do some big moves. Then Swagger and Cesaro, despite their issues, like I said, they kind of got their issues solved as they double-teamed and got the quick tags in and out on one of the Usos as Jay just got destroyed. As one of the Usos got destroyed. You can't tell which one's who. You know, they're twins. I don't like twins. Especially, like, Bella twins, I can't tell them apart. Like, identical twins, like twins, the Bella twins and the Usos, can't tell them apart. But anyway, it looked like Cesaro and Swagger were back on their winning ways and back to their successful teamwork as both guys dominated over the Usos, especially Cesaro was trying for that big swing, but he never got to do it. So, like I said, there's good action in this match. Like I said, my favorite part was the ending. Usos came flying back and it looked like Swagger and Cesaro's problems were going to come back to haunt him as Swagger tried to help out Cesaro from avoiding a big move from the Usos, and then Swagger got kicked for his helping. But then one Uso flew out to the ring, took care of Swagger, and that was Jay flying on top of Swagger outside the ring. But as Jimmy was going for his big flying move, Cesaro got up and in midair caught Jimmy with a nasty uppercut, setting up the neutralizer. 1-2-3 victory for the Real Americans, pinning the tag team champions. Here's my prediction. That during the tag team title match, because I think Real Americans are going to get a title shot, well, because of two reasons. One, because they won tonight against the Usos in a non-title match, and two, to set up their breakup. That's what I'm guessing. The title match will be their breakup, because something's going to happen during the title match between Usos and Real Americans. There's a song, will do something to Swagger, because these two, we've seen their problems. We've seen their problems. We didn't see it tonight, but I think the problems may come back to haunt them, especially, that's why I think the tag team title match is going to happen between these two teams. It'll be the combination in the reasoning for the breakup. Because something's going to happen, like Swagger's going to do something, and then Cesaro either punches him and walks out on him, and basically leaves him to the wolves that are the Usos. But I bet you there'll be some sort of breakup during that title match when we Americans do take on the Usos for the championships. Maybe next week on Raw, or maybe the week before Mania. We'll see how that goes. Speaking of Raw next week, can't believe Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to be on Raw next week for his movie, Sabotage. God. He was on SmackDown 15 years ago, the end of days, but this feels more like desperation, because his movies have been bombing lately. If he's not in Expendables, his movies fail. Escape Plan failed. Didn't he see Sylvester Stallone's last movie, Grudge Match, fail miserably? Like, old guys do not draw anymore, especially old guys who know that their careers are done. Especially Stallone and Schwarzenegger, who are old hats. And I'm going to feel so happy when Sabotage bombs, even with the WWE support. To Arnold, hasta la vista, baby. Anyway, we're also going to have Scooby-Doo make an appearance on Walt, the Scooby-Doo WWE DVD. Scooby was Scooby-Doo Muppets. But I love Muppets, but Scooby-Doo. Whoa! Eyes me trouble. Santino involved, and Emma could be involved with Scooby. Probably some kind of Scooby outfit. Anyway, but that's next week. Let's get down to continuing this week. As of today was St. Patty's Day. And we have the ultimate Irishman in the WWE. I'm hearing he's really Italian. That's what I heard. That Sheamus is not really Irish. He's Italian. I don't know if that rumor's true or not, but whether or not he plays an Irishman on TV, as he was indeed in a St. Patty's Day battle against Titus O'Neil. He thinks he's Irish because he got the O, O'Toole, O'Neil, like Patty O'Senny. I didn't do a Bob Saget thing, sorry. Anyway, these two are getting on to a boy, and of course, another Irish play person on TV, of course, Mr. Hornswoggle. He was in Sheamus' corner, and Sheamus was pounding on Titus O'Neil. These two are going to be in the Battle Royal, along with Christian, who was on commentary. So there's a lot of names added to the Rumble. Sheamus, Titus, and like I said, Christian. A lot more people would be added to the Battle Royal this evening. So as Sheamus was probably on Titus, of course, with Christian watching, Titus decided to get his little hands on Mr. Hornswoggle because he was getting frustrated about getting his butt whipped by Mr. Sheamus. But Titus didn't do well against Sheamus at first, until, like I said, Sheamus came out like a warrior, the Celtic warrior that he was and is. And as Titus was about to pummel on Hornswoggle, took him to the ring, going for a big slam. He threw him over his head, only for Sheamus to catch him before doing the big chops against the ropes. And then, of course, setting up for the big inning that was the Brogue Kick and the 1-2-3 victory for Sheamus in the St. Patty's Day battle with, of course, Titus O'Neil in this battle. So, another big victory for Sheamus. And then, as Sheamus was celebrating, Christian came up from behind from commentary and beat up Sheamus, ran up against the steel steps. Of course, these two's little rivalry's not over yet, despite their better match than 2 weeks before and their little Memphis Street fight last week. Their feud's not over, especially with these two guys in the Battle Royal, along with Titus O'Neil. Now, let's continue on with Raw with John Cena. Answering, of course, to the Wyatts. Of course, as we all know, John Cena will take on Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 30. Now, I really like Bray Wyatt's promos. Like, everyone's saying that Bray Wyatt's the greatest thing in the world right now. And I'm hearing Punk chants again. Come on, guys. You got Daniel Bryan in the main event, hopefully, if he wins against Triple H, and you're still chanting for CM Punk. Didn't you watch Walking, Talking Dead last night? He's done. I love Punk. I would love him to come back. But I have accepted the fact he's not coming back. I'm not one of those assholes who are going to buy a ticket to Raw and troll the show and chant CM Punk the entire night. Thank God there wasn't none of that tonight. But even during the D-Bry segment in the end, you chanted CM Punk. Come on. You're never happy. Even if the ring finally gives you what you want, D-Bry, hopefully main event, you chant for CM Punk still. But that's another topic for another day. As we have Cena come out, talk about his match with Wyatt, saying that I'm scared of Bray Wyatt. And I love this. The build-up is kind of interesting. For a Cena feud, that's interesting. And I love the fact that Bray Wyatt's, of course, talking about Cena being a superhero, and he's really mortal. Come on. I love the fact of building on the Super Cena thing. And Cena's like trying to show, his own scareability by saying that he's scared of Bray Wyatt. But he's like, screw all that. I'm not scared of him. I've been through a lot worse. I've been through a lot in my career. I buried a lot of people. And I'm going to bury Bray Wyatt. That's what probably may happen. Because Super Cena never gets anyone over. I love him as a person. As a personal person, Cena is a nice person. But his character, it's getting a little stale. And I love what Bray Wyatt did when he interrupted Cena's little poem about his legacy. And it's kind of funny they had a little promo video later on. It's kind of funny that Cena's been compared to Eminem as a rapper, yet they use an Eminem song for a promo for his match against Bray Wyatt. Funny how art imitates life, or life imitates art. That people make fun of him, like saying, I'm not going to lose, like if people talk smack to Cena, the rappers, like, I'm not going to get my ass beat by some Eminem wannabe. Now they use Eminem as a song for his promo. But anyway, Bray Wyatt came out on the screen talking about Cena and his whole... I love this promo on Bray. I love this. I love it, his promos about talking about how he was wearing a Cena shirt, by the way. They're saying that the world is a lie and you're a lie, Cena. That the world's living the lies of you being a hero. About living your prophecy. You live in your motto of horse loyalty and respect. That you... I could be like you, Cena. I could become a foolish hero like you, believe in my own hype, and live in a castle with a plastic girlfriend. That was funny, making fun of course, Nikki Bella. Of course, Breeze against D-Bry. But anywho, that he'll just basically destroy Cena and destroy his legacy at Mania. And the whole thing. So Cena and Bray Wyatt at Mania. It's not going to be the best match in the world. Thankfully, that's not the main event. But still, really intriguing matchup. But I think Cena may end up doing what he does best. Be faster than the Rey Mysterio, more powerful than the Big Show. Able to bury careers and end pushes in a single bound. He may end up burying Bray Wyatt, the most hated man in the WWE by the IWC. Super Cena. We'll see if Super Cena does bury Bray Wyatt. Beats Bray Wyatt or not. Or will Cena follow the buzzards? So there you go. We'll see how this ends up at Mania. Now on to our next matchup, the No DQ match. Randy Orton against Daniel Bryan. Now, the match was decent. For being an Orton match, was actually interesting. These two have had interesting battles. Orton can feud with good... Orton's had some good feuds. Orton's called boring and monotonic. monotone, whatever you want to call him. But he's had some decent feuds with people. His feud with Christian 3 years ago was awesome. And his feud with D-Boy was pretty good last year, despite the whole shenanigans with the whole authority thing. But his match was interesting. It was an okay matchup. There was some weapons used. I wish there was a little bit more weapons, but the candlestick was used. I love the way it was instigated, as D-Boy was dominating the early half of the matchup, taking over the outside, and then as D-Boy was doing something, setting up something, he walked up to the table, something turned around and bang, Orton just nailed him with the candlestick, setting up a big move on the table that gave Orton the advantage for the later half of this matchup. He even said to the referee, "Ring the bell! Oh, I forgot you can! There's no DQ!" Of course, this is going to bring out the Viper that is Randy Orton. It did bring him out, especially after he got that candlestick involved and it really brought out the Viper, the Predator that is Randy Orton, as he stalked his spray, just dominating on D-Boy, just beating the crap out of him outside the ring, and just laying it on him. Big backbreaker, using a candlestick tail, choking him out with the candlestick. And he just destroyed D-Boy in this later half of this matchup. But of course, we talk about Super Cena, and everyone's talking about Super Daniel Bryan all of a sudden. That Super Daniel Bryan came back to life after Orton did his move. Of course, D-Boy countered with the Hurricane Rana, even countered one of Orton's moves trying to set up the yes lock, but he never did get that yes lock on him. And of course, following the big superplex from the top rope, of course, after D-Boy's little advantage, D-Boy would indeed be praying to the Hangman's DDT before Orton was ready to set up for the RKO, the big finish. But D-Boy would would roll himself out of the ring to avoid that RKO because he knew that was coming. And then he was the one smacking Orton with the kendo stick. But as Orton was going to take care of D-Boy again, getting the steel chair and bringing into the ring ready to pound D-Boy with it, Batista, who we thought, like I said earlier, left the building. He didn't really leave. He spilled the hell out of Randy Orton and have D-Boy basically get the win. Basically help D-Boy win after that spill on Orton that Batista delivered. Daniel Bryan got on top of Orton. 1-2-3 victory for Daniel Bryan. Of course, Batista seeking retribution after the RKO from Orton. He later put the exclamation mark by delivering the Batista bomb on Orton. So, Batista. Listen, I like Batista as a person. I met him once. He's kind of mean in person, but, I met him and he's an okay performer. But he just came back at the wrong time. I like him as a person. I like him as a wrestler. He's an okay wrestler. He's not one of the best wrestlers in the world. He's a power wrestler. And I've seen him perform well. Hello, his match against Taker at WrestleMania 23 was pretty good. But like I said, he's getting a lot of hate from people. I don't like him getting this position because I want, like many other people, D-Boy. I like D-Boy. I don't know, many people thought that D-Boy was just stuck in mid-card, but the fans just really believe in him and believe he got screwed and just kept chanting him, especially if they got shafted out of the title picture. Now he's back in it because of the fans, whether or not they wanted it or not. So there you go. They're playing for Batista. Like Triple H said earlier, it is really the fans' fault because the fans want D-Boy in the main event and not Batista. Like I said, one place, one time for Batista. But anyway, on to the next scenario with Paul Heyman. Now, we did not see Taker. That's a spoiler. No Undertaker tonight. But we did see Paul Heyman. Talking about the Undertaker, speaking of legacies, but Taker's legacy about his undefeated streak at WrestleManias throughout the last 30 years, or at least 23, 24 years of Taker's career. Of course, 22-0. Many people would say, actually 21-0. It could be 21-1 if Brock Lesnar has his way. As we saw in a little promo about Taker is indeed a phenom. But in the last couple of years, and this is true, that Taker's body's been wearing down on him. He's had injuries. He's gotten beat down every time, especially in his encounter with Triple H in WrestleMania 27. He got carried out. He got beat up so bad because of that. But Lesnar's fresh, and he's ready to pounce on the prey and conquer the streak. But it is like, they always build this up. They always think, oh, this is the guy. This is the guy that's going to end the streak this year. I say this a lot on here. Like before the match, it's like, I'm going to beat the streak. I'm going to beat Taker. I'm not scared of him. Then get in the ring with him and Taker you get in the ring with Taker and Mania after all this hype. You say, oh, I'm not scared. Then the match starts and Mania, you're like, oh shit, it's Undertaker. You get scared shitless. You talk a lot of smack before the match, then when the match starts, you piss your pants, basically. As Taker said once to The Rock, your mouth's writing checks. Your ass can't cash. That might happen to Brock Lesnar and like all the rest. Yes, Brock's been Undertaker before in a Hell in a Cell match at No Mercy 2002, but this is a whole different ballgame. Taking on Taker in his domain. Undertaker at WrestleMania, So we'll see how that goes. See, it is going to be 21 and 1 or 22 and 0. Will Brock conquer the streak? Or will Brock rest in peace? On the next matchup, Goldust against Fandango. Scalamoose. San Antonio, Texas, doing the Fandango. Anyway, it was an okay match. Of course, Cody Rhodes was at ringside for Cody's brother Goldust. And of course, we got the new star of Total Divas, Summer Rae, and Fandango's corner. Of course, Fandango with his slight dance moves. Fandango came in with the big soda block moves and dancing a little bit. Got the advantage on Goldust until Goldust, the bizarre one himself, won't lose to a new guy like Fandango. Well, not exactly new. He's been around for a year. WrestleMania 30 is his 1 year anniversary of his debut. Real in-ring debut after all that. Won't come if you don't introduce me right. I hated that whole thing. We're like, I'm not going to wrestle until you pronounce my name right. Then he finally wrestled at Mania against Jericho. And beat Jericho at Mania 29. But Goldust would get the victory on Mr. Fandango with a big drop kick in his finish. It was an okay matchup for what it was. With Goldust against Fandango. I wasn't really paying attention to the match. I saw a little bit of it. But there you go. Now, on our next scenario, talking about the Occupy Wall movement that's saying that Daniel Bryan could not have done this on his own. There was a mole, basically. A mole that allowed Daniel Bryan to get people in the arena. This whole storyline thing. And since Raw was in Memphis, I blame you, Jerry Lawler. You're the mole that allowed D-Bryan to get the fans in the ring for this whole Occupy Wall thing last week. And just as Kane was about to deliver his justice on Mr. Lawler, the Hounds of Justice themselves came down. The Shield. Now, earlier in the evening, of course, Shields had their problems. But apparently they're all unified again. Despite what happened last week with the whole situation with Seth Rollins walking out. But like I said, they're unified as a team again. Apparently. And siding with the Authority. Kind of, it looked like they were back on the Authority's good side. Because they have sided with the Authority, kind of being their cronies in the whole thing with Daniel Bryan. It looked like they were back in their good graces. As Shield was taught by Kane early in the evening, either you're with us, you're an ally, an asset, or a liability. And as Shield was going to pound on Lawler, they said, Lawler, Daniel Bryan's not going to save you now because the Shield does what's best for business. It looked like they were going to pound on Jerry Lawler, but they turned around and became a liability to the Authority as they beat up Kane. And then delivered a triple powerbomb of Kane. Now, this could set up the Shield against Kane at Mania in a 3-on-1 handicap match unless the Shield finally breaks up soon. But for now, the Shield is unified. Believe in the Shield. Now, on our next matchup, speaking of matches for Mania that could happen, we could get the Divas title match between Naomi and AJ after War. Now, Naomi got injured a few weeks ago with a vicious hit against Oksana in a tag team match. And Naomi's been out for a while, and it kind of put plans for the Divas match on the shelf for a while, since Naomi herself was on the shelf. But Naomi returned herself to answer tonight as First Mate Naomi. I had to use that reference because she was wearing an eye patch tonight to protect her cornea. Arr! Arr! Rock the blank with First Mate Naomi and Lookout Cameron making pirate references, once again the eye patch, as they took on AJ and Tamina. And Naomi, like I said, Naomi's been out for about a month and a half and trying to regain her momentum that she had before she left, that she was destined to get a title one in a big feud against AJ. Well, that may happen again, as Naomi did deliver the big goods and did get the victory over AJ in this decent OK Divas tag with the Bella Twins applauding their fellow Total Diva stars as they were delivering commentary. But it looked like, even though the Funko Tactics did get the victory, it looked like AJ was going to deliver the big move that the ending came when AJ and Tamina were just pounding all over the Funko Tactics' OK Divas tag. It looked like AJ was going to deliver the big Black Widow move on Naomi. Of course, Naomi countered it and set up for a big move off the top rope. She didn't do a wheel view move, but she did do like a big somersault, big splash from the top rope, a moonsault for the victory, as Tamina was being pummeled verbally by AJ following her loss. Now, we saw in TNA that Lady Tapa turned on Gail Kim. That Lady Tapa was, of course, Gail Kim's security policy, her insurance policy, turned on Gail. Where we see Tapa turn on Gail on TNA, we would see Tamina turn on AJ tonight. So it could sense either one of two scenarios. Tamina against AJ versus Naomi triple threat match. We got one triple threat match for title at Mania guaranteed, whether it's Triple H or Daniel Bryan against Batista and Randy Orton. We could have another triple threat match for a title. AJ against Tamina against Naomi, especially after Tamina's turn, after AJ kind of slapped the taste out of Tamina's mouth. Then, of course, Tamina shoved AJ down. They may break up. This could sense Tamina getting involved in a triple threat for the title against AJ and Naomi. We'll see what direction they take. Whether this triple threat, or it will come down to one-on-one against AJ and Naomi. Whatever direction they make, Tamina will be eyeing AJ to take her down, as apparently the relationship is over. Speaking of Mania things, on to our next matchup in an 8-man tag, an all 80s man, all in the Battle Royal. Dolph Ziggler teaming up, reuniting with his former protege, Big E, teaming up with, of course, the Big Show and Mark Henry. They're on the Battle Royal alongside their opponents, Baxel, and Alberto Del Rio, and Damien Sandow. Two guys who need to get pushed. Damien Sandow and Ziggler didn't even face off one-on-one in this matchup. And it's an 8-man tag match. Ended up turning into a preview of the Battle Royal itself. So it was an okay 8-man tag. All the guys got in there. Why Baxel kind of started off palming on Big E. Could set up a title one, or at least a title feud against Big E and Ryback. They've been kind of eyeing each other for a while. So it could go into an IC title feud. And that could happen with the... Maybe do a Battle Royal. Ryback and eliminate Big E. That could set up a title shot for Ryback. For IC. Anyway, the ending of this matchup came when everyone started eliminating everybody over the top rope. Like I said, a preview for the Battle Royal. Where everyone eliminated everybody over the top rope. Like Ziggler coming in off the top rope. And Axel eliminated, throwing Ziggler over the top rope. Throw him over the top rope. Like I said, kind of like symbolism for the Battle Royal. As everyone was out of the ring, Sandow was a link man against Big Show. And Sandow was trying to throw Big Show out, but no way can one man throw out the world's largest athlete. Got the choke slam for his helping. And a 1, 2, 3 for the Big Show in his team. In his okay little tag team 8-man affair. With everyone getting thrown out, and Big Show being the last man standing in the ring, that could be a sign of Big Show winning the Andre the Giant Invitational Battle Royal. Or as all the talent in it could say, a WrestleMania paycheck. Maybe they can get some old guys in there, some legends in the match as well. And of course, we got the Mr. T thing. I can't believe Mr. T is going in the Hall of Fame. You won't let Savage in, but Mr. T is going in the Hall of Fame. I think Hulk Hogan's going to induct Mr. T. Since Hulk Hogan's not inducting Warrior, that honor goes to Linda McMahon. Hulk Hogan can induct the Mr. T. A paid fool. It makes sense for Mr. T because he was part of the first Mania main event. Kind of makes sense, but it's like you let him in and not Macho Man or Scott Hall. But Scott Hall may finally get named in a couple of weeks. I mean, maybe the final name. Maybe be announced the week before Mania. But anyway, on to our next matchup. We involve Bray Wyatt taking on a man who needs to change his gimmick fast to get pushed. Kofi Kingston. I like Kofi. He's stuck in mid-call because he's just a plain old babyface. He needs to turn heel. Needs to rebel. But anyway, of course, I knew Kofi was going to get his ass squashed, which he did. Despite Kofi's high-flying moves, of course, Bray Wyatt's physical brawling style got the best of Kofi, ending up with the Sister Abigail Kiss of Death and the 1-2-3 victory for Bray Wyatt, getting himself momentum for his match against John Cena. Now on to our last segment of the evening. Triple H promising a one-on-one talk with D-Bry. Stephanie was not too happy about this. She was like, yeah, you're going to take it like a man? And all the shit that's going down is Daniel Bryan's fault? Prove it. It looked like shit was going down with the Authority, like I said in the beginning. It looked like the Authority was breaking down. With Kane getting pummeled by the Shield, and Batista and Owen getting in Triple H's face. Triple H initiating himself in the triple threat match. If he wins against D-Bry, Stephanie be mad about that. But it ended up all being a very cunning plan. It would all come together in this segment. As Triple H would call out D-Bry and say that all this shit I dumped on you, or I buried you basically, I'll be burying you, dumping this shit on you. It's all because I was protecting you, and blah, 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 blah. Now I am going to end this yes move once and for all, blah, 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 blah. Then he kind of respects D-Bry. Oh, that's what he said until Stephanie came out as, she's like, respect? This ain't about respect, Triple H. He disrespected, he being D-Bry, he disrespected my family by having his yes movement, occupying wall, blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to press charges. Security! They had all these cops coming out, and they did handcuff D-Bry. And then Triple H was like, I don't want this. Leave the ring. You're not even real cops. At that point, I knew exactly what was up. It was a setup. They basically had the cops handcuff D-Bry, thinking himself his ass beat by Triple H, helpless because he was handcuffed. It was all a setup. It all was a setup for D-Bry to get his ass pumped by Triple H outside the ring. That was the end of all. D-Bry just getting his shirt whipped off and just getting destroyed in the ring. And D-Bry tried his best to use his other unhandcuffed body parts. He did try to headbutt Triple H. But he tried to kick Triple H, headbutt him. But it was all but downhill for there. Downhill, especially with the pedigree, the end wall. It's definitely doing the yes. Yes is what we want. Even doing Arnold Schwarzenegger's promo for Raw next week, he even did yes. But this yes was definitely relishing in her husband's demolishing of D-Bry and helpless D-Bry, handcuffed and unable to defend himself as he got his ass beat on Raw to end Raw this evening. So there you go, the setup by Triple H to handcuff D-Bry, having this whole police thing, these fake security guards, basically to help D-Bry get his ass beat helplessly by Triple H to end Raw. So there you go. There's my Raw review for this St. Patty's Day. See you all later. With that in mind, you've all been attacked by the review from Zach. Thank you all very much for watching. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes.